Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are into Married at First Sight Australia. We are now on series 11 and we are now on episode 4. But before we get into it, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos, and let's get into this episode. So there are a few couples, well, I'll say more than a few couples who are on their honeymoon so far. We have Lucinda and Tim, we have Eden and Jaden, we have Sarah and Tim, Natalie and Collins, Cassandra and Tristan, and Tori and Jack. So the next couple's coming up to get married, or next couple I should say coming up to get married, is Ellie and Ben. But we'll get to their scenario in a minute. We will. So you see they're just going through the couples and you see that how they're getting on at the honeymoons. You got Lucinda and Tim who are trying oysters, and I don't know why Lucinda has to make everything sound sexual, but she fucking does, because at first I thought they were doing something else when I heard the sounds come up on the screen, but it's not. They were eating oysters. So you see Tori and Jack, and basically I think they're in a bath together. They're in a type of bath together. I mean, like, she is literally showing that she likes him sexually at the end of the day. I don't know if they've, you know, done the old fandango. But anyway, he then gets up and she's very much into him, and he's liking the fact that she's very much into him, and like she really sees, all she sees is the outer shell. She's not looking at nothing else. To me, she ain't at all. She ain't seeing no depth in this man at all. And this is why I'm saying, why does Jack do these things with Tori? Because all it does is create intimacy, making her believe that he's on the same page as her, when in actuality he is not on the same page as her. He don't find her in the slightest attractive sexually. And there's certain other things that he says which is going to give me further red flags with this guy. Like, he's an absolute dick, like an absolute dick. You see Eden and Jaden, they're getting on really well and they do look beautiful together. You see Sarah and Tim, and it seems as though they're getting on well together now after they've had their little blip at the beginning. And then you see Natalie and Collins, and again, Natalie is very much full on and Collins is kind of stayed. He doesn't give any, like, it's not like, it's Collins just does not give any type of reaction to anything. Like, seriously, he doesn't get into the silliness of Natalie, which is what I would do if I was with someone, because I'm quite silly myself. He doesn't do that in the slightest. So I don't think he's very much into Natalie, but Natalie is very much into him, and I think Natalie is going to get hurt within this process, no doubt about it, unless Collins can come out of his shallow little bitch, yeah, and start having these adult conversations and not staying quiet so much, and not like giving answers to questions that are coming up, or actually having an open dialogue and an open communication with Natalie. He is literally going to ruin her experience. That's how I'm seeing it right now. Maybe it may come off as a nice guy, and don't get me wrong, I do like Collins, but I think he's going to ruin Natalie's experience for her. And then we get to Cassandra and Tristan, and they've got really, really close, and I'm happy for it. I do like them two together. I ain't gonna lie. I do like them two together, seriously. So Tristan did want to ask her a question, and he's kind of like one of those nervous types where he doesn't really want to ask, but he wants to because he doesn't know how it's going to come off. So basically he just wanted to be able to give Cassandra a goodnight kiss, and she was receptive to that. She was quite open to that. So she said it would be nice. So then we move on to Tori and Jack. Right, so Tori is talking about how much of a spark there is between them two. And I'm like, no, love, no. There's not a spark between you two. You believe there's a spark because Jack is creating that impression for you. But the only spark you're feeling is from your spark hitting him and bouncing off back to you. That's the only spark you're feeling, my love. Because Jack ain't being honest with you. So Tori's there gushing about how she believes Jack is the special one, and she kind of said that to him, and he said maybe. And I'm like, remember in the last episode I said that Jack is going to start playing little mind games with this girl to try and put her in a place that he wants to put her into. This is where it starts. This is the weird mind little games that he's going to start playing with Tori now. So Tori's there sitting there about how with all the other couples she believes that they won't be on their level and that they're superior to the other people who's also going through this process. And I'm like, my girl, you're throwing you're blowing your motherfucking trumpet, yeah, and you don't even know where this guy stands with you. Like, seriously, you don't even know the other couples, but yet you are trying to pitch yourself as superior. And this is why I say, I like Tori and I don't like Jack. Jack is a dickhead, but Tori, I don't like her. I don't. I really don't. From the first time she walked in and she said what she said, and she got on with the other loop-de-loo one who loves red flags. I like her. No, I don't. I really don't. So basically, the experts decided, let's fuck this little camaraderie up, yeah? Let's put out a little bit of spice, shall we? Let's get you to open up and actually speak about your motherfucking feelings for once. They're throwing the honeymoon box. So basically they're saying it's to speed up the newlyweds to get to know each other. No, it's to create issues from the outset. That's what that honeymoon box does. Unless these people literally answer these questions honestly, it will create issues at the end of the day, because most of the people ain't going to want to hear what they want to hear. Okay? So Tori asked Jack what are his deal breakers and why. This guy has an effing list. Like, he has it effing. He's so full of himself. He is so full of himself. So let's move on from that, because I could not be asked to go through this stupid list that he said, to be fair. So he said he demands respect in a relationship. Tori basically turned around and says she won't have an issue with that. And I'm like, is he? You're kind of not challenging this dude right now, my love. You're not challenging him. Anything he's saying right now. Okay. So we'll move on to what he said. So you see Tori keep going on that he fits the mold to a T and singing his praises and da-da-da-da. I mean, she might as well just sat there and said that she likes the look of his dick, to be fair, and then start measuring it, because that would have been great for him, because this dude was smizing all the way through this. So the next question was, do you feel sexual chemistry with Tori? He starts off with that she answered that question immaculately. And I'm like, okay, dudes. Okay, dude, you started off with a compliment, so let her have the rest of it, you know what I mean? So basically, he then starts saying that he has had bigger sexual sparks instantly with other people when he's first met them. And I'm like, now you're beating around the bush, Jack. Just say what you've got to say. At the end of the day, you don't feel no sexual chemistry with this girl. So he then goes on with, given the way that we met and the mixed emotions, he wasn't at a point where, oh, I want to rip this girl's clothes off, I want to get this girl in bed. He's saying that particularly was, he's not there. And I'm like, so are you saying there's no sexual chemistry with Tori? You're just saying that, you know, there was no initial spark, but like, you know, even though you didn't feel that you didn't want to rip this girl's clothes off straight away, it's kind of moving toward that avenue. He didn't answer the question, didn't answer the question at all. So he then turns around and puts in a deadline of where they should be in their relationship sexually. So he's expecting them to at least be in this sexual encounter stage within 6 weeks of their marriage. Somebody needs to come get their man, because he's a full-on twat. Like a full-on twat. And Tori sat there and took what he said. Like, literally took what he said. She was not shocked by that. He basically kept on saying that he's a sexual driven guy and he's very passionate and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, now someone's blowing their trumpet way too much, because you two could get in bed and it'll be absolutely fucking pants, because you don't know how to move your rotted hips at the end of the day. But yeah, she just believes that Jack is playing his cards close to his chest. She didn't hear a word of what he said. Like, seriously did not hear a word of what he said. didn't question it, didn't read into it, didn't ask any further questions. No, it was just, I understand where you're coming from on it. She took no offense. She didn't even heed the warning of her friend. Yeah, I think there's going to be a downfall there somewhere. I'm saying it. There's going to be a downfall there somewhere between them two. Totally. Because right now, Tori was coming off as quite submissive in that conversation. And Jack wanted someone to challenge him. And that's how he was. I think this is why I say he was testing her. This is why I say where the little games come from. He was testing her to see if she would challenge him on what he was saying, and she didn't. And she came up short. She came up a little bit short on that one. So then we see a little bit of Collins and Natalie. Why did Collins erect a fucking pillow fort in between the both of them? What did he think this girl was going to do to him? And how did he think that girl would feel in the fact that she's coming to bed with her husband? Because he seems to forget, this is your motherfucking wife, my friend. To come to a bed with a pillow fort in the middle of it. What kind of childish shit is that? Like, seriously? Go sleep in a separate bed if you know why I'm for sleep in the same bed as your wife and you know why I'm for her to touch you. I don't understand what Collins is going on with at the end of the day. All I'm thinking of as well is Natalie's seriously going to take all this on board and probably start storing up her barriers, because that's what she's going to have to keep. That's what she's going to have to do from now. That's what she's going to have to do from now, because this man is playing some kind of stupid game. And this is why I don't understand, again, how you've never been in a relationship in your life, but yet you come on this show and think you're going to be able to suit into a marriage. I don't know what Collins thought he was looking for, but it ain't going to go the way that he thinks it's going to go. So it clips to Lucinda and Tim, and they're doing an actual life lesson, life drawing. Tim didn't know where to put himself, but Lucinda was into it, because Lucinda's into all of that. And the thing that Tim liked about Lucinda is the fact that she was very complimentary to the model, because the model was a bigger girl. But she was really giving her those accolades, which she should do, because at the end of the day, do you think I'd be able to go and get my website for people to draw? How to the no? No. So now we have another couple that enters, and it's Ellie and Ben. So basically, Ellie nearly got married before this show. She was with the person for 6 years, and he basically went out and didn't come home. Then when he did finally come home, he turned around and said that he didn't want to be with her anymore. So at that point, she was at the stage of, she'd purchased her wedding dress, they got the wedding venue, they'd done the wedding cake, they put the invites out, everything like that, so we're due to get married. So she, by herself, had to literally cancel everything, and people were asking her what had happened. Whoever that guy was, you're a dickhead. Like, seriously, you're a dickhead to do that to someone. And this is what I mean. If you don't want to be with the person no more, then literally fucking have that conversation with them. Why would he walk off and leave Ellie? And then that was it. So then we see Ben, and basically he's talking about how he lost his best friend to brain cancer, and how he wants to find someone that he truly wants to be with, truly wants to love. They basically love the both of them, so the experts have put them together. My thing is usually they will come on here and talk a good game, but it's also down to your actions in regards to how you're going to treat this person, how you're going to communicate with this person, and what happens here on out once you decide to meet them at the altar. Right, so we get back to Ellie. Ellie has this very close cousin called Jordan. Ellie's mum and Jordan's mum are twins. So they grew up very close to each other. So with Jordan, he's taken the mantle of, he needs to be the voice of reason for his cousin Ellie, because she does not sometimes always see the issues within men or the red flags within men. He's the one to determine that for her in that sense. Now, my thing is when you always give a person this type of platform within your life, albeit if they're family, they're friends or what have you, yeah, something doesn't always go right with that, because guaranteed the person who you've got that type of platform to is going to find an issue with whoever it is that whoever it is that you decide that you want to put your lot in with. They're going to find a certain issue. then they're going to come to you with that issue and then expect you to act accordingly. So we'll see how that happens there, because we do know through the wedding, Jordan has his suspicions about Ben. Basically, Ben does not help in the fact that when Jordan does go and have this conversation with this guy in regards to thinking, well, I only think you're here to boost your travel business, to boost your podcast, and to try and get famous. You're not necessarily here for love, and you're not necessarily here to do right by my cousin Ellie. Ben agrees where he would say to Jordan where he could get that impression from, but then doesn't dispel him of that impression in any way, shape or form. Even when I think it's the producers or whoever it is that's holding the camera asks him directly, are you here just to get famous? And the way in which he answers that question weren't good either. It really wasn't good either. He didn't necessarily dispel that notion. But then when he goes in, Ben goes back in, Jordan has the conversation with Ellie and says where he believes that he is, because he believes that this guy is a red flag walking, and that's essentially what he tells Ellie. Ellie takes it on board, but basically, true to form, she's going to find out for herself whether he's good for her or not. But she will be on guard in regards to what her cousin has said. I'm just like, sometimes I don't know why people cannot just be straight up happy for people. But okay, it's your family, you want to protect them at any cost. I get it at the end of the day. So Ben gets up and does this whole speech. Now this speech, wedding speech, should have been essentially about the person that he's met and how he feels about the person that he's just met and now just married, and where he believes that they may go in the future, hopefully. No, Ben decides to call out the shittiness in regards to people believing that he's not there for the right reasons. And I'm like, if that does not plead Jordan's case, then I don't know what the hell does, because that is not a speech made in heaven at all in the slightest. It was just Ben deciding that he is going to get it off his chest in terms of what he thinks about people thinking he is doing X, Y, and Z. That did not instill me with no confidence that you're there for love at the end of the day. It really isn't, because the proof is in the pudding. Actions speak louder than words, and right now Ben is just giving So they go off, Ellie and Ben go off on their honeymoons, and it moves to the other couples, Eden and Jaden, still getting on swimmingly with each other. So they do have a good vibe. So basically Eden does sit down and tell him about her past relationship and what had happened there, and why she's a slow burner and why she doesn't trust people initially. But she's saying that actions do speak louder than words. But then with Eden, she also has to be careful that she doesn't put on to Jaden what she's feeling in respect of what happened to her and her experiences with her ex and her best friend at the end of the day. Jaden does reassure her though, so I do have my fingers crossed for Jaden and Eden. I really do want it to work out for them. And then we have Lucinda and Timothy. Now, I am going to say from the jump, I like Lucinda. I do. She's a bit kooky, but I do like Lucinda, and I hope Timothy literally gives her the chance in terms of getting to know her. So in comes the honeymoon box for them. And I'm like, well, now's the time for Timothy to start opening up in regards to how he feels about Lucinda. So basically, again, he keeps on going on about the fact that, you know, he's the Tin Man, Every second word is like he classes himself as the Tin Man, so he doesn't want to release any type of emotion in that sense. And I'm kind of like, my guy, like, seriously, Tin, you need to get rid of this Tin Man moniker, because it ain't doing you no motherfucking justice. Because we can tell watching the show when shit is bothering you. Like, we can see that. So you trying to say that you deading off your emotions and sucking them right down, I'm sorry, it isn't working for you. Because at the end of the day, you stood there in the wedding and basically told everybody your situation and where you was in regards to that emotionally. That does not a Tin Man make. At the end of the day, that shows you do have a heart. So he asked the questions about whether she's very sexually adventurous, and as you know, Lucinda does, she goes off on a tangent and talks about the fact that she is a coach in terms of tantric sex. And I'm like, okay, that's the most adventurous you can be. Like, Timothy is just a vanilla type of guy. He doesn't say it in so much words, but he does turn around and say that, you know, the last thing he had was a vanilla milkshake, so he is a vanilla type of guy. So Lucinda asks him, do you feel any sexual chemistry with me? Because she would like to feel more intimate with Timothy, because she honestly does feel that sexual chemistry towards him. But it's the case of point is, does Timothy feel it towards Lucinda? He went silent when that question was asked. And we all know, once you answer a question with silence, we know that it's not going to turn out to be a good answer. So Lucinda basically turned around and said to him, you might as well just tell me. You're not going to hurt me. Just be honest about it. And it's kind of like the longer he waited to answer this question, she already knew what the answer was going to be. So he's basically saying that it has to grow on him, and it hasn't been instant for him at this moment in time, but he's saying that it's not there yet, but he's hoping that it will be as they get to know each other. I believe that when it comes to sexual chemistry, that spark happens straight away. It can happen straight away in regards to how you initially visually react to that person. So in terms of people saying about, oh, do you feel sexual chemistry with me? If you felt it straight away, you'd say yes. If you didn't, you didn't. I don't know if you can build on feeling sexual chemistry with someone, because for me, myself, I think it's something that you feel just instantly. If you don't feel it, then I don't know how you build on that. But people, you can tell me how you would build on that if there's no answers in the comments at the end of the day. So basically, Tim did tell her how he felt. Lucinda took it really well, and literally didn't browbeat him in that sense, because she kind of knew. She already knew that he may not be feeling what she's feeling at the end of the day. He now said, now Timothy's now taken that on himself and feels bad because he believes that he's hurt Lucinda by what he said. At the end of the day, there's going to be some hurt for Lucinda. There is, because she's now at that realization that she feels more for him than he feels for her at the end of the day. It's how it goes, but that depends on how resilient Lucinda is in taking the information that's been provided to her, and she has done. She has done. So he then sits there, and again, this Tin Man moniker needs to come out, because he puts his heart in terms of, and his feelings in regards to the fact that I think she asked him why he would come on this show in that sense. And he basically re-explained to the point where he said that after his dad passed and he went off, he was upset, feeling all this upset, but he had no one to call his own that he could actually call and speak to. And that's what he wanted, and that's what made him decide, I am going to put in an application for this show. It would make me decide something completely different. It wouldn't, if I was going through that. It's each to their own, but if I was kind of going through something like that, I wouldn't necessarily want to pick up a phone or pick up a laptop and say, you know what, let me fill in this application for, you know, Married at First Sight. That's not where my thoughts would actually go, but that's the thoughts of where Timothy would go and that. So you see Lucinda start to get upset for Timothy in regards to his set of circumstances, and Timothy saying, oh, it's okay, and trying to literally putting on that strongman verbiage of big men don't cry, they don't show their emotions. But Lucinda was trying to literally say that I feel for you in that sense, and I want to give you some of my strength. And yeah, she did get upset for him, but he didn't really accept that. And I'm just kind of like, I don't understand how you literally, and I think Timothy recognises that he has a good woman in Lucinda, but he's just not opening himself up to that at this point in time. I don't know if he ever will, but we'll see. But I must say, as I said, I like Lucinda. I do like her. But that is where this episode ended. I'll be back with the next episodes very soon. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.